folks, I'm David Chaos, and welcome to the first ever installment of Saturday Night Judgment, a music and media review show for those that really don't care. Now, I know I don't have any, fancy intro graphics or whatever, but guys, most of the time when I have those, I've been working forever on them. So let's get right to the review. To explain the way I get the score, I basically give each song a score, then a final score for the composition of the album as a whole, basically treating the album as its own song, and take the average of all of those scores, rounded to the nearest 100. And all of those scores are, by the way, out of 10, in case you were wondering. Now, some of you may have heard that I'm going to be reviewing Britney Spears' Femme Fatale. Guess what? April Fools, I'm not reviewing Femme Fatale. I'm sure some of you are very glad that I'm not reviewing Femme Fatale. I know I'm glad that I'm not reviewing Femme Fatale. No, instead I'm going to be reviewing a new album by a band called Blackfield. For those of you unfamiliar with Blackfield, it's kind of a side project of Steven Wilson's. It also involves musician Aviv Geffen. This is Blackfield's third album. The first two were actually both self-titled. Well, actually, the second was called Blackfield 2. But you get the idea. This third one is now called Welcome to My DNA. It's a little bit different from the last two albums for a number of reasons. Number one, you may have noticed this, but Welcome to My DNA does not have Blackfield in its name. Also, this is the first album to not have the song Where Is My Love on it, so make of that what you will. Another thing that's marked in this album is somewhat of a change in style. Most of the time, Blackfield's style is very soothing, calming, with sometimes dark or pessimistic lyrics. Not often have Blackfield lyrics been considered optimistic, and that's the lowest form of the word I could think of. But there are a few lighter lyrical themes going through this album. One thing I found is that Welcome to My DNA really feels like two separate albums from a composition standpoint. It sort of feels like they just got meshed together in some strange way, because on one hand you have a very angry at the world, very raw, aggressive work, and on the other hand you have the peaceful, subtle work that Blackfield is a little more known for. For notable songs, first I want to point out Far Away. Far Away for me has some of the best sounding vocals in any Blackfield work. Arguably just about any Steven Wilson work. It's well crafted, and you can really sort of attach yourself to the lyrics, whether you know them, whether you know what he's talking about for sure, whether you've been there or not. It's just very well crafted, very well done, and for me personally, that was one of my personal favorite songs on the album. One song that drives this album down quite a bit is the song Go to Hell. I get what the song's about. I get that it's really about not caring what somebody thinks, what other people think of his work. I get that, and I respect that. But if he really doesn't care what other people are thinking, then he probably won't care that I hate that song. It's not so much the lyrics. For one, there's only one or two lyrics, which makes it feel sort of incomplete and whiny. But another problem I sort of see is that it just sounds out of tune. Just completely out of tune. I'm sorry, but this is one of the few times where I have to definitively give a thumbs down to this particular song. Overall score, it had a few very, very high points, but for the most part it was a little bit above average, especially when you consider viewing the album as a whole. It really seems sort of schizophrenic and odd. So that being said, I have to give the album a 6.67 out of 10. Well, that is it for my review of Welcome to My DNA by Blackfield. I hope you enjoyed it. If not, sorry. I'll try to do it better next time. It's really my first time doing an actual music review. I guess maybe I'll see you guys next week. Looking at what's supposed to be coming out next week, I think the only thing I can see that's notable in any way that's coming out, unfortunately, is a Hollywood Undead album. So it looks like that's really the only thing I can review next week. If you have any other recommendations of albums that are coming out next week, not that are already out, but that are coming out next week, then hit me up, let me know. Till then, peace.